Straykids imagines when they get jealous after seeing you talking to your ex at a party, them as your mafia husband. Felix. Everyone knew Felix by name and feared him more than they admitted. A prince in velvet shadows, the youngest cartel lord to rise with a grin sharp enough to. The gala was loud, elegant, wrapped in the scent of perfume and wealth, but Felix's mood turned ice cold as he caught sight of her smile, his smile. Felix's lips curved into a mock smile, not his usual warm charm. This one was colder, meaner, like the flick of a blade just before it sinks in. When he reached Yen, he slid behind her like silk and steel, one hand wrapping around her waist, the other casually holding his glass. Talking, he finished for her, his gaze fixed on the man. Yes, I heard. The ex stuck out of his hand, feigning confidence. Good to meet you, man. Felix stared at the hand like it was something offensive. He didn't take it, didn't speak. Instead, he turned to Yen and whispered, low and slow, in her ear. Yen's breath hitched. She turned slightly, hand brushing his chest. Because you promised you'd behave in public. Felix chuckled, dark and soft. I did, but he testing the edge. But his eyes stayed open, staring straight into the other man's soul. She's mine, he said softly now, deadlier than any shout. Go back to whatever hole you crawled out. Later, when they were alone, Yen leaned against him, finger playing with the buttons of his shirt. You were jealous, she teased. Felix grinned. I'm always jealous. He picked her up like she weighed nothing, carried her into their bedroom, and slammed the door shut with the booted foot, madly in love and dangerously obsessed. Norman saw the ex again, not because Felix laid a finger on him, because he didn't have to. Leeknow. Yen had barely noticed Minho's eyes on her entire evening. She was talking to her ex purely by coincidence. He'd showed up at the same friend's party. He wasn't the kind to cause a scene. When they got in the car, the silence said everything. You okay? She asked, glancing at him as he. I'm fine, he muttered. That was just. I know what it was. He cut her off, voice calm, too calm. She reached over. He exhaled through his nose. I just didn't like how close he was standing, or how he kept looking at you like you still belonged to him. I was being polite. She leaned closer. Are you seriously jealous right now? I'm seriously imagining dragging you into that supply room and reminding you who you wake. Her breath caught. Is that a threat? He smirked, more like a promise. I'm sorry, she said softly. I'm yours, Leno. The car pulled into the. She leaned in, lips brushing his. I'm yours, that all it took. He kissed her like he was claiming territory, slow, deliberate, intense, his hand slid. I know you are mine, he whispered, kissing down her neck, but I need you to feel it. And that night he showed her again and again just how deeply he felt it too. Bangchan. The gala was full of politicians, power brokers, and that kind of people who smiled while hiding loaded guns. It was Chan's word, and tonight, his wife, his one vulnerability. Yen moved through the room like a queen, elegance wrapped in silk and subtle diamonds, and every man in that place. I was wondering if I'd run into you again, he said, voice silk as oil, holding two glasses of champagne. Yen took one. Didn't expect you here. Didn't expect you to still look at me like that, he said, stepping closer. Thought being married would have tempted you. You tried to brush off. She froze, too late, because Chan had been watching from the second floor balcony, one hand resting on the railing, eyes locked on the scene below. Back at the mansion, the car ride home was silent. He didn't speak, didn't look at her, not until the front door shut behind them and the guard stepped away. You really let him touch you? His voice was quite dangerous. Yen's mouth opened. It was just. He stepped forward, she stepped back. Don't call it nothing. I didn't mean to. You let him touch your hair. His jaw clenched. Do you know what that looks like? Jan, I didn't want to make a scene. You're married to me, he snapped. Making a scene is my entire business. She flinched, not from fear, from the weight of his worry. He closed the space between. Do you know what happens to men who think they can touch what's mine? Her breath caught. They disappear. His other hand slid to her waist, gripping tight. You think I care how it looked? I would have burned that ballroom to the ground. You wouldn't, she whispered. I would, he said, for you. Then his mouth was at her throat, hot, slow, claiming. His lips brushed the spot he saw her ex touch. He kissed it once, then again, harder, then. She shivered in his arms. His voice softened just slightly. You're mine, and I'll remind you many times as it takes. She wasn't just his wife. Seungmin. Seungmin wasn't the type to throw tantrums. He was the type to end wars with a look. He sat at the head of the private VIP lounge, fingers interlocked, a half smile. And when he saw Jens leaning against the bar with her ex, laughing at some inside joke they used to have many, he didn't move. No one would know. Yen knew the moment he saw across the room. His gaze clipped through the crowd like a sniper's scope, catching her in conversation with her ex. When Yen returned to him, the air felt colder. You saw? He said softly. Songmin didn't answer at first, just watched her, mirrored her. I saw enough. He just came over to say hi. I didn't ask him to. I didn't say you did, he replied, voice smooth but sharp. But you smiled, laughed, touched his arm. He looked at you like he wanted to remember what it felt like he thought he had a chance. Yen's heart skipped. Sungmin didn't shout, he didn't threaten. Did you enjoy it? He asked, tone deceptively casual. No, she said quickly. Good, but if you had, he'd already be gone. Off the grid, you know how easy it is for me. People disappear for less. His eyes bored into her, but I didn't touch him. You know why? Because you trust. Then suddenly his fingers slid under her chin, tilted her head. I don't want to hurt people, Yen, but when it comes to you, I stop caring who. He kissed her cold lips, slow burn, one hand at the back of her neck, possessive, the other wrapped around her waist, anchoring her to the. That night, no one heard from the ex again, not because Songmin acted, but because one look from him made the man disappear all on his own. Han. The party was buzzing, rich music, richer people, and danger dressed in tailored suits. Han Jisung walked in with his wife Yen on his arm. Yen was used to the tension. He was stunning, sharp, and composed even when walking through a den of criminals in heels, but even she didn't expect to run into her. He spotted her near the bar, looking effortlessly beautiful in black silk. He approached with a cautious smile, trying to act casual. They exchanged a few words, light, meaningless, but nothing that should have mattered, except it did. Across the room, Han had a clear line of sight. He saw. His expression didn't change much, but his jaw clenched and his eyes darkened. His inner circle, those who knew him best, recognized that look immediately. He didn't storm over, he didn't shout. Han didn't need theatrics. His presence alone shifted the room. People stepped aside as he crossed the floor like a. Having a good time, darling? He asked Yen, though his eyes never left X. We were just talking, she replied smoothly. With him? Han's voice was cool, dead. X face paled. It's nothing, he said quickly. Just catching up. Han gave a cold smile. Good. Now catch a ride out of here. The moment he was gone, Han turned his full attention to Yen. He gripped her chin gently but firmly, tilting her face to look at him. Why were you? I don't care if he set up rear, he doesn't get to breathe near you. Han growled. You're jealous, she said, raising an eyebrow. I don't get jealous, Han lied. I get possessed. When he finally pulled back, Yen gave him a sharp look. Try to kill someone over a hello again, and I swear I'll stab you in the thigh, he chuckled. She laughed quietly, resting her forehead against his. You're impossible, and you love me anyway, he whispered. Changbin. The party was already too much. Sweaty bodies, loud music, strobe lights flicking across faces she barely recognized. Yen just wanted a drink and a moment to breathe. Yen, he said, sliding up beside her at the bar with that same crooked smile. Damn, you look even better than I remember. She blinked. Wow, that's your opening line. She narrowed her eyes, smirking, still subtle as ever. Why be subtle when I've already had you wrapped around me once? X, she reminded him. You sure about that? He leaned in, voice dropping lower. Because you're smiling like maybe you still think about it. She didn't realize it, but Changbin did. He was standing 10 feet away, pretending to scroll on his phone while his ear locked onto every word. The second he heard that line, something snapped. Changbin appeared beside her like a shadow, gaze locked onto the guy like he was already digging a grave with his eyes. Yen turned, startled. Changbin, hey, wait, I said. He leaned in closer, voice low but lethal. We are leaving now. He didn't even look at the other guy, didn't need to. His hand was already on. Back at the apartment, the door slammed so hard the picture frame rattled. Changbin didn't speak, just walked straight past her and into the kitchen, fist clenched. Was that fun for you? He asked without turning around. Don't do this, Yan said. Oh, we are doing it, he said, spinning to face her. His eyes were dark, jaw. It was uncomfortable. You didn't walk away. I didn't want to cause a scene. You think I care about a scene when some piece of shit is. Her breath hissed. I should have put him through a wall, Jongen muttered. Instead, I stood there listening to him talk about you like you were still his toy. I didn't mean to hurt you. No, but you let him try you. And now I have to fix it. Her pulse skipped. What do you mean, fixed it? I mean, he said, voice thick with heat, you are going to let me erase every word he said, every memory, every look until you forget he ever existed. He pulled her closer, mouth brushing hers. Let me remind you who owns you now. She didn't answer, didn't need to. Because when he picked her up and carried her to the bedroom, she already knew she wouldn't be walking tomorrow. Ian. After party was winding down, champagne's floats half empty, the music widened now, a lazy hum of wealth and secrets. Jongen hadn't said much the whole night. But no one dared test him, not if they knew who he really was. Yen had wandered to the far end of the rooftop garden for air. He let you until he stepped out of fine Yen laughing with him, her ex, the man who made Yen feel small once, who cheated, who apologized. Yen just felt it. She shifted in the air, the tension in her spine. He stood silently beside her, didn't look at the. Yen blinked. Jongen eye, his hand didn't drop. His voice didn't rise, just one word, now. The car ride was quiet, no anger, no signs, just the. But Yen knew it. That silence, that was his rage. Inside the apartment, he took off his coat, rolled up his sleeves, and turned to face her. I wasn't flirting, Yen said. You weren't thinking. His voice had an edge now, low, deadly. Jonkin, I didn't mean. He stepped closer, no fast, no rough. I protect you from everything, he whispered, from bullets, from petrol, from my world. But you, he leaned in closer, eyes sharp now. You let someone. I don't care what he did. He snapped, his voice cracked then, just a bit. That's when it hit Yen. It wasn't about pride, it was about pain, fear. Yen swallowed. Why? Because I wanted to know if you still remembered who you belonged to. The air felt thin, her pulse loud. I do. He tilted his head. That was all he needed, the softness drop. He grabbed her face, kissing her with the quiet desperation that unrevealed the last of his restraint. Jongen wasn't the loudest, he wasn't the scariest, but tonight he was the one you'd never forget. Hyunjin. The party was full of expensive perfumes, dim lights, and far too many people pretending to like each other. Hanjin blended into the corner effortlessly. Black. He was watching Yen, and he was pissed. She was laughing with someone across the room. Her ex, she'd been standing there for 5 minutes too long, smiling, nodding. He didn't go over, he didn't storm out, he just shut down. When she finally walked over, cheeks flushed from the wine and noise, he didn't even look at her, just stepped to the side. She blinked. Hanjin? Nothing. Back at their place, he threw his jacket on the couch and headed straight to the kitchen. Still quiet, still cold, Yen followed behind. So we're in the silent treatment phase now. He opened the fridge, grabbed a water bottle, didn't ask her, "You good?" She tried again. Sip. No response. "Oh my god, you're so dramatic," she groaned. "It was just a conversation." He leaned on the counter, finally giving her a glance. It was sharp. "I wasn't exactly dancing in his lap," she said, walking closer. "You really think I'd flirt with my ex while my gorgeous, unfairly hot hubby was across the room, staring?" He looked away. "So we're still ignoring me," she smirked. "Okay, cool." She walked up behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist, and she slid her hand under his shirt, fingers slightly brushing his abs, lips near his ear. "Still mad?" she whispered. He tensed. "I'm not playing with you, Yen," he muttered. "But I'm playing with you," she said, pressing a kiss to his neck. "And you're not stopping me." He exhaled sharply, finally turning around. "You're really testing me tonight." She leaned in, nose brushing his. "So do something about it." And just like that, he grabbed her thighs and lifted her onto the counter, mouth crushing into her with frustrated, heated kiss that said, "Don't ever do that again." "I always win," she teased breathlessly. He smacked against her skin. "Not tonight, baby, you don't." Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos.